and Jasper on defense. The draw won by the Scouts. Jasper dumps it diagonally all the way down. Going to turn out to be a shot on goal. Chad got labeled hard by Scott Dean over here to the near side now. Rather over to the far side. There's the shot high by Van Scoy, grabbed and held on by Glenn Abell. Abell in net tonight for the Trevians. Brendan Fouts in goal for the Scouts. And our face-off now going to take place over on that far side. They're going to put Jiski and I can't see who that other defenseman is. Here come the Trevians up the ice. Listener on the near side. Bumped off the puck. Out to the blue line. Berrettini held in the zone. Now there's the boomer wide. Listener got it away to the far side. Picked away by McCaffrey. He's tied up. Here come the Lake Forest Scouts back up the ice. But, oh boy, did Van Scoy let loose a boomer. Offside, though, against the Scouts. Boy, Van Scoy let loose a wicked shot from the blue line. Abell with the save, but it didn't matter. It was offside. Turner and Peterson and Halezi. Right through the slot to the far side. Turner bumped off the puck briefly by Eastman. Now Eastman comes up with it. Over down the far side. Picked away Stern. Stern ahead for Newton. And instead they were picked into the zone. Oh, heavy check over there. And Mizuta hurt. Got up slowly, and now he's going to come off. Johnson dumped into zone to lay offside against the Trevians. Trevians going off on a quick line change. Jasper up ahead and out to center ice. Now McCaffrey dumped it in. The Trevians offside, and the Scouts control. Now the whistle and the offside called as Genesta hadn't cleared the zone. 12:22 now to play early on. We're in the first period in playoff action. And this is a round robin. That is to say, we have the 5 teams that are playing in the Scholastic Cup bracket of the playoffs. And they play each other. The winner, the 2 top teams will advance to the playoff. Dean got it into the zone, bumped off by Eastman. Berrettini, a heavy hit by Eastman, picked up by Dean. Short shot, goal! Mike Van Scoy with the goal. Dean with the assist. Scott Dean with the assist. And the Lake Forest Scouts on top 1-0. .12:09, time of the goal. And it's 1-0 now, Lake Forest Scouts. Going into head-to-head competition in the Big Four, Loyola had a record of 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie against the Big Four. They scored 26 goals and gave up 13. What I find interesting is the other 3 of the Big Four all had negative records as far as goals for and against. I'll get to that in a little bit. We're back to the action now. Up ahead over to the far side. John Chad. Chad tried to dump it out of the zone, picked away by Newton. Newton out ahead. And Newton and Stern bumped heavily, picked up by Jiski. Jiski tried to feed it ahead off the boards, nothing doing. Now busted away into the zone. And once again, Newton being checked and bothered heavily by Peterson. Here come the Scouts up the ice all the way down. That's going to be icing against Lake Forest, and it is. As we were saying, in head-to-head competition, Loyola had a record of 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie against the other Big Four. They scored 26 goals and gave up just 13. The Trier Trevians had a record of 3 wins and 3 losses, scored 17 and gave up 20. Glenbrook North had a record of 3 and 3 also. They scored 20 and gave up 25. Lake Forest had a record of 1, 4, and 1. They scored 19 and gave up 24. Jasper bothered by McCaffrey. McCaffrey will come up with it with Loritzen. And now pushing and shoving over there. There was kind of a grab over there. Nothing called. Shouldn't have been anyway. over here on the near side, and now here come the Lake Forest Scouts up the ice. Dean over to Berrettini. Berrettini bumped off the puck by Eastman. Now Scott Dean. They're bumped. McCaffrey comes up with it. I expect to find a lot of heavy hitting in this one. Jasper over here for Ezio Berrettini. Ezio Berrettini into the zone and dumped it in and then got hit heavily by Eastman. Listener broken up by Berrettini. Now here's McCaffrey. McCaffrey up ahead and dumped down into the zone. And again a heavy check thrown in there. Lindholm took the man. Jasper took the puck over here to the near side. And John Turner down by Johnson, nothing called. Here's Eastman with a long slapper. Trickles wide to the far side. Halezi back behind the net now. Brendan Royster dumps it to the near side for the Lake Forest Scouts. Scouts bring it up the ice. Peterson a little bit overled to him. Now Stern, down Stern goes, nothing called. Fraser at center ice. Ross Fraser across the red line, dumps it into the zone. Now to the far side, Jiski pushing at it. Jiski dumps it along the near side. Up ahead, the Trevians, broken away by Eric Stern. Stern looks to center it. Still trying to control. Newton couldn't get the shot away. Busted away by John Chad. Chad and Halezi collided. The puck squirts back down into Trevian's end. Abel left it for Stern. Stern dumped along the near side here, and back goes Royster. Royster goes back to pick it up. To the far side, Dean and Newton will be on top of each other tonight. That'll be an interesting matchup. There's the shot by Dean and the save by Abel. There's the shot by Van Scoy. Big boomer wide. And out to center ice and all the way down into Lake Forest end. Jasper behind the goal line. Jasper straight ahead for Scott Dean. Dean right around Eastman. Dean shot. Ooh, wicked one wide to the near side. Here come the Trevians right back. McCaffrey with Lindholm. Back into Lindholm. Shot, a goal! Teddy Lindholm. Teddy Lindholm with the goal on the short shot over here to the near side. 2-on-1 break. (1-1) the score. Dumped in by Janista offside as McCaffrey was in ahead of the play, and now some extra little pushing and shoving going on after the whistle, and both teams trying to keep a lid on things. Are going to make a line change here. Let's see what they're doing on the lines here. They have all sorts of Peterson, Turner, Halezi. As the forwards for Lake Forest dumped out and lose the puck out of the rink and then right back again, or it hit the roof. I'm not sure exactly where that went. .8:34 to play the first period. 1-1 tie. Ties stand in the divisional round robins here. Out to Johnson. Johnson dumped in. Ran into the defenseman of the Lake Forest Scouts up front. Now Johnson has it again. Again, he dumps it to the blue line. Picked away by Lauritzen. Lauritzen to the far side. Halezi underled him. Eastman retreats in his own zone. Over to the far side. McCaffrey up to center ice. Lauritzen dumps it in to lay offside on the part of the Scouts. Eastman to Johnson. And Matt Johnson fanned on the puck. Managed to get it into the zone, though. Back over to the far side. Chris Jasper up ahead for Ezio Berrettini. Now here's Van Scoy. And Van Scoy was roughed up pretty heavily there by, I believe it was Lindholm, and it was. All the way down, that's icing against the Trevians. We'll move back down to the Trevians end. Again, much like the first game, it appears we've got a lot of stick work going on out behind the play and away from the puck here. Jim Smith, the referee, is going to have to keep a close lid on this one. Drop in the draw. Back behind the net to the near side. Out and cleared out of there by the Trevians. All the way down. They'll wash off the icing. Somebody, I don't think it got back behind the goal line. Over to the far side. Out come the Scouts, overled on the pass. Now John Chad over here to the near side. And Mizuta dumped it. Now picked up by Chad. Scott Dean overskated a little bit. Up ahead for Dean. Dean tried to pick it away from Witherell. Now Jiski at center ice. Stern. Ezio Berrettini. Chad. Out to the point. Held in the zone. Mizuta up ahead for Newton. Newton with Jiski to the corner. Turnaround shot. And just a little wide. Mizuta and Berrettini busted away by the Scouts. Out to the point. John Chad. Chad in. Took the shot. Ran into Jiski out front. Newton dumps it back behind the net. Royster bumped heavily by Janista. Now picked away by the Scouts. Ezio Berrettini for Dean underled him. Witherell. But Van Scoy brings it into the zone offside. And now Scott Dean comes in and bumps, and I think he's going to get a penalty for coming in late. And he is. Scott Dean, a minor after the play for roughing. Scott Dean, a minor for roughing at 6:28 of the period. Way after the whistle, and that's the reason for the minor. 6:28, time of the penalty. The drop, the draw. McCaffrey. Jasper dumps it into the zone. Going to turn out to be a shot on goal. Now Eastman over to the near side. Johnson underled him, and I guess we lose the puck. Yeah, we did. Right down here in front of us. 6:15 to play here in the first period. 1:47 on the minor. 1-1 tie early on in the first period. The first round of the playoffs. The other game tonight in the first round as Loyola and New Trier Blue. And both those games and that game coming up after this one's over at another rink. Lauritzen lost the puck to McCaffrey. 2-on-1 break. McCaffrey boomed it wide. Wicked shot. Well, they've gotten a couple of real boomers away. Over to the far side. McCaffrey shot. The save by Fouts. Lauritzen dumps it out and clears it out to center ice. All the way down into the Trevians end. Here's Johnson. Matt Johnson. Broken up by Halezi. Halezi keeps it in the zone. Halezi avoided, as McCaffrey avoided the check actually from Johnson. Halezi controlled in the corner. Halezi deep in the Trevians end. Now here comes Stern up the ice. Eric Stern across the red line, the blue line, into the zone. Stern looks to center, can't do so. Now Newton picks it out. Newton got run at, nothing called. Dumped and cleared out of there. As we're under a minute on the minor. Now Peterson and Eastman having a little problem over here on the near side. Here comes Fraser up the ice. Fraser rags it. Back along the near side. There's too many men on the ice against New Trier. Sure is. New Trier, too many men on the ice. They got 6 guys out there. New Trier Trevians, minor, too many men. Let's see who who was the offending player. I can probably pick it out on the line here. Looks like it was one of the defensemen that actually was caught with that. New Trier bench minor, too many men on the ice. Time of the penalty, 5:03. So now we'll skate equal for another 36 seconds, and then the Scouts will have the power play. Lake Forest. 5:03 to play in the period. Drop on the draw. Van Scoy gave it back to Royster. Royster ahead for Van Scoy. Misconnection with Witherell. Witherell dumps it over here to the near side. Johnson Matt Johnson up ahead, busted away by the defenseman Jiski. Now Johnson in on a breakaway. Johnson shoots, save, rebound, no goal. Underneath the goalie, beautiful save by Fouts. I think the Trevians thought they had it in. Beautiful save, though, by Fouts on the initial save, and then the puck kind of underneath them, and everybody swatting at it. But Fouts controlled it. And I don't think it ever did really go in the net till he stood up. One of the goalie's best friends are their back end sometimes. Over here on the near side, dumped and out to center ice. Matt Johnson. Johnson rags it, brings it over on the far side. Johnson trying to work his way in. He does so. Johnson deep. The Trevians now up, down a man. And Scott Dean back out there on the ice. Scott Dean controls. Dean brings it up. Scott crosses the red line, the blue line, into the zone. Dean spreading it out, putting on a little burst of speed here. He's knocked down along the boards, out to center ice and cleared by the Trevians. Fed up ahead, nobody there, dumped down into the zone. The Scouts were offside and the Trevians control. To the far side, and Janestas bumped off the puck. The Scouts control at center ice. Van Scoy dumps it into the zone. And Scoy, and meanwhile, Scott Dean got Janesta hard, and Janesta is hurting a little bit. Scott Dean out at the point. Dean over to Van Scoy. Van Scoy shot, save, rebound. Couldn't lift it. Back behind the net. Over here to the near side. The Scouts had a 2-on-0 break. And Van Scoy got the shot away. The save by Abel. Now here's Jasper to the near side. Loritzen crosses the line, takes the shot, dumped it into the zone. Ezio Berrettini back there with Eastman. Berrettini with Witherell. Now to the near side. And now Berrettini tried to center it down in the slot. There could have been an interference call that maybe Jim Smith could have called. Heavy check at center ice, and Listener lost his stick. Scouts control, double teamed Mizuta, and dumped out to center ice. Now to the corner. Mizuta knocked down hard. The Scouts dump and clear down. This is going to be icing against Lake Forest, and it is. Icing against Lake Forest. 2:36 to play here in the first period. Well, this has been a real good and interesting hockey game, as well we expected it to be. I know everyone who is probably listening tonight knows that I would have a comment on the article that appeared in the Pioneer Press about high school hockey, and the comments from the headmaster of Loyola, but I am going to be prudent here and make no comments. I will let a letter that I sent to the Pioneer Press speak for me. I don't think it's prudent that I do it in front of God and country here, so to speak, on the broadcast. In the corner, they push it there. And now the whistle and the stoppage. The puck underneath somebody over there. Jim Smith right there, and I doubt very much if he's going to call anything. 2:11 to play here in the period. Loyola won the Metro North regular season with a record of 14-1-1 and 29 points. New Trier Green had a record of 13-3 and 26 points. Glenbrook North also a record of 13-3, but finished third on head-to-head competition versus New Trier with 26 points. And Lake Forest finished fourth, 11-4-1 and 23 points. Dumped ahead off Turner's leg, picked away. Janista dumped heavily down by Peterson. Royster to the far side. Lindholm and Halezi collide. Halezi actually had the puck but didn't know he had it. Now Jiski, he's knocked off the puck a little bit out to center ice. Dumped right back in to lay offside on the part of the Trevians. The Trevians tag up to the near side. Turner And a little bit under lead. Turner couldn't control. Dumped. Leslie brought it in. And John Chad. Chad dumps all the way down. That's going to be icing. No, washed off all along. Here come the Scouts again. Under lead Turner. Van Scoy to the far side. Berrettini. Johnson will chase it down in his own zone. Matt Johnson bumped over to the far side. Berrettini, Stern. Oh, a high hit in there somewhere. Somebody got it. There's a boomer, and it runs up onto the netting. Back behind the Trevians net. Deflected. A minute 1 now to play here in the period. Seven to face off. There's a drop on the draw. Loritzen. Eric Loritzen dumps it in. Boy, for a freshman, that Eric Loritzen's a big kid. Here comes Newton. Newton over here for McCaffrey. He comes up with it. McCaffrey off the boards. We got a penalty for tripping coming up on Loritzen. Now a heavy check back behind the net. But the penalty will be on Eric Loritzen for tripping at 42 seconds left to play in the period. He took his took the feet out of Clay McCaffrey, under Clay McCaffrey, and the penalty. 1-1 tie, 42 seconds left on the minor, on the period rather. And once again, the Trevians have mixed up their lines a little bit. Stern over to Frazier. Frazier, the shot, the save. Out in front, Peterson and Newton. And now we got a hold going on out front. And I'm willing to bet we'll have coincidental minors coming up here for roughing. He's not even going to call that. I'm not sure why. Smith's not going to call it. I don't know. Out in the slot, we had a little altercation there between Newton and Peterson. And I don't know. I think I would have called that. At least I would have called a hold in there. Frazier dumps it into the zone. Jasper controls. Jasper up ahead. Halezi. That's why I'm not a ref, I suppose. Newton. Newton into the zone. Spreads it out. Bumped along the boards. Newton hit heavily back there. Now right through the slot. And the save. And the horn sounds ending the period. At the end of the first period of play, the score is the New Trier Trevians 1 and the Lake Forest Scouts 1. And we'll be back with the second period in just a moment. Tonight's action. Lake Forest had the best average number of goals per game. They had a 6.37 goals per game average. Loyola was second with a 6.31. New Trier Green third, 6.25. Glenbrook North fourth, 6.12. And New Trier Blue 3.06. Those are the top five in the Scholastica bracket. In goals allowed average, the lowest was Loyola. They allowed just 1.43 goals allowed per game. New Trier Green second, 2.31. Glenbrook North third, 2.62. Lake Forest 2.68. Glenbrook South 4.75. New Trier Blue 5.37. The worst was Deerfield. They had a 7.06 average goals allowed per game. Fewest goals average per game with the worst record on that score was Barrington. They had just 2.31 goals scored per game this year in the regular season. Most goals by a team: Lake Forest 102, Loyola 101, New Trier 100, Glenbrook North 98. McCaffrey feeds it down into the zone. Jasper back behind the net over to the far side, out to center ice by Jiske, and cleared out of there. Fraser behind the net. Fraser being bothered nicely by Halezi as the forechecker. On the near side now, Fraser dumps it ahead to center, and Newton flicked off the puck there. Down the man goes. It'll be a hand pass, but it'll go to the Trevians and wash that out. Everything's good. Now to the near side and back down into the Scouts' end. Down the man goes. The puck squirts to the corner. Stern. Eric Stern looking to center it out to the high slot. Fraser's shot. Knocked down at the defense by Halezi. Stern right into McCaffrey. Shot, and I think he shot it wide. Maybe Fouts got a piece of it. Stern trying to bring it home. Busted off by Jasper. This time busted off by Jiske. Now here come the Trevians right back. Newton back behind the net. Penalties over. Team's back a full and equal straight. Newton shot saved. Now Stern centered. Newton shot a goal! Chris Newton! Chris Newton with the goal. Could see that coming. The Scouts having a little trouble getting that defense together over there. And it's 2-1 in favor of the Trevians. Now here's Scott Dean. Dean around Eastman and then got held. I think we got a penalty coming up. No, nothing called. I thought Jim Smith raised his hand. Over here on the near side, Eastman tried to feed it out to center ice. Royster dumped it in, got hit high by Mazzuta, offside against the Scouts. Scott Dean was in ahead of the play, ahead of the puck. The clock is still going. There you go, 12:22 to play in the period. And they'll hold it for a couple of seconds. And we wait now. The official word going to be given to the two coaches about the delay on the clock here. They'll hold it for a few seconds before they drop the puck. I'd say it was about 3 or 5 seconds that was lost on a slow hand over there on the clock. 12:22, playing the period. There's the drop, the draw. Loritzen dumps it into the zone. Eastman on the backhand, brings it up the ice. Eastman over here on the near side, bouncing puck for Mazzuta. Back goes Royster and Mazzuta, heavy into the boards. Back over here to the near side, Izio Berrettini bumps Janista off the puck. Out to Eastman, the slapper, the save by Fouts to the far side. Loritzen and Mazzuta to the boards. Now out to the point. Johnson, his shot, ran into traffic out front. Picked up by Tris Janesta. The shot, the save, and Fouts will clamp it down to the ice. Now some pushing and shoving going on out there after the play. Teddy Lindholm and looked like Eric Loritzen were the initial ones involved in that. 11:44. Well, what'll happen is we have a round robin. The New Trier Trevians, if we're going to take them here, will take on Glenbrook North in their next game, and then Loyola, and finally New Trier Blue in that order. Up ahead, Witherell dumps it to the far side. McCaffrey into the zone and out by the Scouts. John Chad dumps it here to the near side. Stern bumped off by Jasper. Now Stern controls again. Eric Stern into the zone. Stern spreads it out. Stern looks to center it. Did so to McCaffrey. Got the shot away. Broken up out in front. And McCaffrey is down and hurt. Back behind the play. And we have an injury back behind the play. Clay McCaffrey is down and injured. Way back by the Lake Forest goal. And He's still down. And now there'll be some talking going on over at the Lake Forest bench. Place as though it were an offside. And we're set for the drop here. Newton is on a changed up line with Listener and Mizuta. Interesting combination. Newton on the near side. Newton knocked down, nothing called. And now the puck underneath them right down here in front of us. And I think we got another penalty coming up. And we'll see who it is on. Newton. Delay a game, I believe, on Newton. I think he gathered that puck in underneath him as the puck came back to him. That appears to be the whistle here and the call. Chris Newton, a minor for delay a game. Time of the penalty, 10:59. So the Trevians will be down a man again. To drop the draw, back to Jasper. Jasper gave it over on the far side. Scott Dean is back on defense on the power play. Into the zone. Berrettini back for Dean. Now picked away by the Trevians. Now a backhand shot. The save, Loritzen got it away. Deep in the corner. Now Eastman dumps and clears out. We got another penalty. This one coming up on Eastman. Now picked away and dumped, and there's the whistle. And Berrettini and Lindholm having a few words, but it will be, I believe, no, it's not. It's Fraser for tripping. Didn't see the signal was behind a bunch of people. I think that's what it was, though. Trevians will be down 2. Ross Fraser, a minor for tripping at 10:32 of the period. .32 to play in the period. A minute 34 left on the first minor to Newton. 2 minutes now on the Fraser minor. Dean over here to the near side off Jasper's skate. Chad dumped it out to center ice for the Trevians. Out to the point, rather. Now picked up by Scott Dean. Dean centered it. Now dumped and cleared out of there by Matt Witherell. Van Scoy brings it up the ice. Mike Van Scoy. Stern tried to come up, tried to chase him down. Now Van Scoy tried to turn the corner. Van Scoy does. Out to the point. High slot. Jasper. Back over to Van Scoy. His shot, the save. The rebound. Berrettini up over the pad. The shot off the post. Picked up by Van Scoy. Van Scoy brings it over. Tried to find Jasper. Couldn't do so. To the near side. Jasper has it again. Jasper tried to turn the corner, broken up by Witherell, and the net moved. No, take that back. Lake Forest scout, one of the Lake Forest players in the new Trier goalie crease. And a face-off will move outside. I think it was Ezio Berrettini, who had his feet caught in the cookie jar. 9:34 to play in the period. 9:34 to play in the period. 36 seconds left on the Newton minor. Minute 3 left on the minor to Ross Fraser. We'll have the face-off, and now once more the Scouts have a different matched-up line out there. Here's Jasper. They've got the power play. Jasper, the boomer, the shot, the save by Abel. Loritzen let it go back out to Van Scoy. Van Scoy, shot, save, picked up by Mizuta out to the point, and Scott Dean couldn't keep it in the zone. He was the only man back there. A lot of room to cover along the blue line. Back into the zone. Here's Scott Dean. Dean tried to spread it out. Tried to find Loritzen, and Loritzen couldn't find the puck and get around Johnson at the same time. Van Scoy into the corner for Loritzen. Loritzen controls. First minor's over. Right in front, the shot, the save. Now here's Ezio Berrettini. Berrettini kicks it out to Van Scoy. Now out comes Newton, and he overskated it a little bit. Van Scoy to the corner. And we're just about 5 seconds or so left in that minor. Van Scoy couldn't turn the corner and get the shot away. Dumped and cleared out of there, and the Trevians have double penalty cleared. Here's Jasper for Berrettini over to the far side. Dumped and cleared into the zone by the Scouts. Here's Matt Johnson back behind his own net. Now over here on the near side. Up ahead, heavy check in there by Scott Dean. Out to center ice, and Jiske over to the far side. Dumped down into the zone. And wash on the icing. The Trevians picked it up more across the line. That was Matt Johnson that did that. On the near side. Out to Jiske. Jiske at the point. The shot, the save. I don't even know how he saw that one through the crowd. Dumped back and into the zone by Royster. Johnson out ahead for Lindholm. Royster into the corner. Now the Scouts down on their, who is that over there? Turner was down on his back end, still controlled the puck. Now we have offside, and again we have some pushing and shoving going on right at the blue line. They won't call it. 7:26 to play here in the period. We're in the second period, 2-1. Trevians lead. Goal by Lindholm and Newton for the Trevians. And Van Scoy for the Scouts. Once again, the Scouts have changed up that line, put Scott Dean on with Van Scoy and Berrettini. Berrettini comes up with the puck, dumped down into the zone. That's Fraser. Ross Fraser bumped by Berrettini. The Trevians still control. High hit, nothing called. Out come the Trevians. Listener dumped into the zone. McCaffrey, and that'll be icing against the Trevians. And 7:06. We still don't have the final scoring leaders, but up through the games of the 31st of January, Mike Van Scoy and Chris Newton of New Trier were tied with John LeVar of Loyola, each with 35 points for the scoring leadership, and Eric Stern was 1 point behind with 34. That's, again, as of the games of the 31st. There's a shot, the save off the face-off by Glenn Abell with the save. The shot, the save again. I think it was Van Scoy that got that one away. In again, Berrettini. He tried for a flick shot, and the puck dribbled wide. Now Loritzen, the backhand shot, a goal! No, it's not Loritzen. Scott Dean, I think. Dean with it? No. Let's try that again. Wait a minute, I'll get it. Yeah, it was Eric Loritzen. I had it right the first time. Loritzen with the goal, and we're tied at 2. Loritzen with the backhand and the goal. We're tied at 2. 6:42, time of the goal. The team that allowed the fewest goals, by the way, in Metro this year, Loyola with 23, New Trier Green 37, Glenbrook North 42, Lake Forest 43, Glenbrook South 76, big difference, and New Trier Blue 86. That is final. That's for the season, the regular season. And we'll go through February 24th with the divisional playoffs, and then we move on to the quarterfinals with the league, and that becomes single elimination. Up until then, it is a round robin between the top teams, the Scholastic Cup bracket, and the bottom 4 teams, the Founders Cup bracket of the Metro North. Halezi now picked away by Lindholm. Lindholm dumped it into the zone. Jiske out to the point with the rail, swipes it into the zone. Jiske was a hand pass actually, but the Scouts picked it up. Up ahead and over lead. John Chad controls it at center ice. John Chad on the far side, dumped it into the zone. Jiske. Stern. Dumped it to the corner. Peterson. Turner didn't control. Out to center ice. Trevians do. Witherell dumps it into the zone. Delay offside. Trevians tag up. Scouts control. Dumped right to Lindholm. Lindholm had to knock it down and then got bumped off. Out to Eastman at the point. Eastman got the shot away. The save. The rebound. Shot right through the slot. Now the Scouts dump it out to center ice. Back in. That'll be offside. Now dumped out again. And it's still back in. And now they whistle. And the stoppage of play. And again, some pushing and shoving after the play. 5:23 to play here in the second period now. Lively hockey game. Again, in the divisional playoffs, the ties will stand. Fraser and Berrettini over here on the near side. That's an interesting matchup. They move Fraser up to a forward here. Out to Eastman. He didn't keep it in the zone. Berrettini, Scott Dean, Vanskoy. Vanskoy into Scott Dean. Dean shot. Here we go! Scott Dean with the goal. Scott Dean with the goal at 5:08 of the period. And it's 3-2. Once again, interesting matchup. They got Fraser up on a forward for New Trier. There have been some interesting line changes that have gone on in this game. Jasper dumps it into the zone. The long shot. The save by Abel. Witherell bumped heavily by Dean. Now back behind the net. And Witherell still down over there. Matt Witherell got up slowly. Witherell dumps it over here to the near side, out to the point. Jasper the shot. Knocked down by Mazzuda. Right through to Vanskoy. The shot, the save. And now Abel has it in between his pads. And the whistle stops play. Because the man controlled the puck, guy. I love fans. I love to talk to fans on the microphone in a game. The reason one of the Lake Forest men were screaming, why did he blow the whistle? He blew the whistle because the puck was underneath the goalie's pad. That's why he blew the whistle. 4:38 to play in the period. Sometimes there's just some demented yelling going on among fans. It's wonderful to hear it from up here. Okay, we're ready for the drop and the draw from the far side. You're listening to Metro North Hockey and watching it on the Metro North Sports Network. The boomer wide to the far side, to the near side. Royster bounced along here on the near side board. Out come the Trevians. Newton brings it up into the zone, tried to turn the corner, and now he'll come up with it. No, overskated it. To the near side, Royster up ahead off the boot of Turner to the corner, and down the men go. Johnson now to Trevians, all busted away from Eastman, but the Trevians recover. Listener fed it ahead for Stern. Stern dumped it into the zone. Peterson back over here again to Royster. Royster will bring it up the ice. Royster fed it and underled Turner out to Mazzuda. Mazzuda brings it back. Mazzuda into the zone. Mazzuda's shot. High and wide. Mazzuda to the corner. Right into the slot. Nobody there but a scout defenseman dumped and cleared out. Lindholm will chase it down. Lindholm and Scott Dean, a pair of 17s to the corner. Down Dean went. Lost the edge off the skate. Dean and Lindholm then collide back over there in the corner. Now out to the centered out. Here come the Trevians back up the ice. McCaffrey turned the corner, shot, a goal! McCaffrey turned the corner. Will get a penalty that won't be called. I believe on Lake Forest for tripping. That won't be put up on the clock, but the goal nonetheless by Clayton McCaffrey. No, I guess there was no penalty there. Goal by Clay McCaffrey. And now some pushing and shoving going on over here on the near side. And Jim Smith going over there to warn him. Fraser and Berrettini. 3-3 the score now. Scott Dean. Dean brings it up. No, he lost it off the end of his stick. Then got it. Then a heavy check between Fraser and Jasper. Jasper gave it to Fraser. Now again some pushing back behind the play between Fraser and Berrettini. That one started up at the face-off. And offside now against the Trevians and the whistle stopping play. 2:50 to play in the second period. 3-3 tie. A real barn burner out here tonight, I guess. And it will be a matchup of the Newton line with the Peterson line, I guess you might want to call it, out there right now. That whistle and stop of the play, it's offside against New Trier. The face-off will move back out. You know what's so interesting is the matchup on these lines tonight. It appears that the Trevians are changing up lines, and they got caught with one of the change-ups. And now Newton coming off, and Listener going on. Stern into the zone. Now Johnson, Turner bumped off the puck. Got a penalty for slashing coming up on Clay McCaffrey. Hit Turner across the ankle. As the puck squirted down into the zone. Clay McCaffrey, a minor for slashing, back behind the play. Back of the blue line. We'll have a face-off inside the New Trier end. 2:29 to play here in the period. 3-3 tie. Once again, Berrettini, Van Scoy, and Dean on as the forward. Jasper and Lauritzen on at defense. And Lake Forest really has stocked up that line with a lot of talent. Jasper over to the far side. Witherell. Witherell dumps and clears out to the point. Held in the zone by Lauritzen. Hand pass. No. Ran up to a New Trier player, and that killed the hand pass. Jasper, as the Trevians cleared, gave it ahead over here now to Van Scoy. Van Scoy crosses the red line. Van Scoy into the zone. In the corner. Van Scoy still controls. Gave it out to Jasper. Jasper shot into the slot. Bounced around in there. Busted away by Janista, or Chad up for Stern. Stern stopped. Stern turns around, gave it to the far side. Tried to find Janista. Now Lauritzen and Janista in the corner. Puck still sitting there, picked away by the Lake Forest scouts. And they'll come up the ice. Chris Jasper. Van Scoy rather. Van Scoy into the zone. Van Scoy splits the defense. Shot, the save. And now clamped down to the ice by Abel. .126 left to play. Metro North hockey, the playoffs. We're in the divisional playoffs. Good, exciting game. A lot of heavy hits. A lot of good hockey. Haven't had really anything you'd call of a flagrant nature. We have a play with a high stick. And they'll call it against Lake Forest and move it down to the Lake Forest end as though it were an icing. So we waste 6 seconds and change the face-off. The face-off will move down into the Lake Forest end of the ice. 51 seconds left on the McCaffrey minor for slashing. Minute 20 now left to play here in the period. Face-off will take place right there, as you see. It looks like Van Scoy and Newton. The draw won by Van Scoy. Back behind the net to the near side. And out come the Lake Forest Scouts. Ahead under led Dean all the way down. Johnson to Newton. Newton labeled heavily in the zone by Loritzen. Picked away by the Scouts. Van Scoy brings it into the zone. Van Scoy drop pass. Backhand shot. The save. Abel controlled. He's calling it down. And now some pushing after the play. And we'll see if we get a penalty coming in here. I think we're going to have it. He's going to call the rough here. Might even call coincidentals. I know we got one coming up, it looks like. Let's see who it is on. Eric Loritz, no, John Turner. Turner for roughing at 49 seconds. John Turner, a minor for roughing at 49 seconds. It looks like Jim Smith is only going to call those roughs when they occur after the play. That appears to be his consistency on when he's blowing those whistles on the roughing. You hit somebody after the whistle, and I'm going to call you down. And we'll have the face-off out at center ice here. The drop, the draw. Halezi out to Peterson, back to Halezi. The shot ran off Eastman. Now Witherell pushes Halezi now along the boards, along the near side rather. Here comes Eastman up the ice. Crank Eastman into the corner. Eastman tries to turn the corner, couldn't do so. Double team down Eastman went. The short shot by Stern, the save. The rebound, the save again. Clay McCaffrey just on after the penalty was over, and the save by Fouts on the second shot. And we're down to 16 seconds in the period. Woo! 16 seconds left to play in the period. 1:27 left on the minor, so that's going to spill over here, it looks like, into the third period. Once again, for the power play, the Trevians now have put on a heavy line. The short shot by Johnson to save to the far side. McCaffrey and Loritzen tied each other up out to center ice, and Newton and Scott Dean tying each other up back down into the zone. That's offside against New Trier, and the whistle will blow it down here. Offside against the New Trier Trevians. 2 seconds left. And everybody moving around for the face-off. There's the drop, and that'll do it. At the end of the second period of play, we're still tied up. It's the New Trier Trevians Green Team 3 and the Lake Forest Scouts 3 in a lively hockey game. We'll be back with the third period in just a moment, right after these messages. Third period of high school hockey. First round of the divisional playoffs between the Lake Forest Scouts and the New Trier Trevians Green Team. We're tied at 3. Fraser fanned on the puck, dumped down by Peterson. The long shot is on goal, washing off the icing. Eastman, if they called it icing, I don't know if they had their hands raised for that. But out to center ice, Halezi busted it away. Back to Jasper. Jasper dumped it right into the Trevians end, picked up by Eastman. Eastman up ahead for Stern. Back to Eastman. Back over here on the near side Frazier dumped down into the zone. To the far side, Stern bumped by Jasper in the skates. Now Stern controls again. Stern rags it along on the right wing. Stern brings it in. The shot ran into traffic out front. Somebody's skate, or stick rather. Now on the near side and out to center ice. Frazier dumps it into the zone. Behind the net, Jasper and McCaffrey pushing it along there. Kind of caught up in their skates a little bit. Now McCaffrey fed it in all the way to the near side. And now the penalty over. Everybody's kosher and at full and equal strength. On the near side, and they push and shove along the boards there. Kind of hard to pick it up in the crowd. Now Halezi bounces it out to center ice. Frazier, he's bumped. And here comes Lindholm back down into the zone. Listener got the shot away, and a save, I think, by Fouts, and maybe was deflected wide. Here comes Halezi back up the ice. Halezi, down he goes, nothing called. Halezi got the shot away. Turner bumped by Frazier. The puck on the near side. Eastman out to Jiske for Lake Forest. The shot, the save, the rebound shot, saved by Vance on the shot by Van Scoy. Good. 2 saves there by Abel. Lindholm up ahead on the cherry pick. Lindholm got the shot away, the save. Down everybody goes into the net, and the whistle stops play. Good job by the Scouts defense there in stopping the shot by Lindholm. That was Jiske that did that. And not getting the penalty. Came awful close, but he didn't get one, which is, I suppose, the object of the whole deal. 11:51 to play in the period. 3-3 tie. I'm going to be out of town. I want to thank all the people. I'm going to be moving out of town for the summer, it appears, and I did want to thank all our viewers here at the Metro North Network. Shot! Goal! Clay McCaffrey with the goal! And the Trevians have the lead 4-3. McCaffrey with the goal. Oh boy, he has certainly been a scoring machine of late. Towards the end of the season here. And the Trevians are back on top 4-3. But as I was saying, getting back, I did want to thank both the people on our cable companies at Post Newsweek and Continental Cablevision and all the group. I'm going to be moving up for the summer and doing some baseball, and I wanted to thank all of you. In case I don't get a chance to get back here, thank all of you for your help in the previous years doing Metro North hockey action. Into the slot. Lake Forest dumped and cleared out. Here's Stern. Stern ahead, Scott Dean. Offside. Van Scoy was still in the zone. .09 to play here in the period. And again, that loaded line of the Scouts is out there. Here's Mazzuda, 2-on-1. Mazzuda to Listener. Listener in, shoots, scores! Rob Listener with the goal at 10:58 of the period. And the Trevians have taken a 2-goal lead here. Biggest lead of the game so far, 5-3. At 10:58. Ready for the drop, drop and the draw. Halezi dumped ahead. Lindholm dumped it back and into the Scouts' end. Mike Jiske dumps it out over here on the near side and into the Trevians' end. Eastman backhanded over here to the near side, Lindholm. Bouncing puck over there on the near side. Now out comes Stern. Stern ahead for Mazzuda. Mazzuda back for Lindholm, the long shot, whistle, and we have a little altercation going on back behind the play between Eastman and Peterson, and this one's been a long time coming. And we'll see here. Eastman and Peterson got involved in a little altercation back inside the new Trier end, and we'll see what the penalties are. I'm not exactly surprised because it is not the first time that these teams have been involved in, those two players, as a matter of fact, have been involved in some problems. It looks like they're simply going to call minors here. Coincidental minors for roughing, it looks like. That appears to be the case. 10:21, time of the penalties. Coincidental minors for roughing, Eastman and Peterson. And all we saw were two players on top of each other, so I don't know. It could have even been coincidental minors for holding. Looks a lot worse than it is sometimes. You think it's a fight, and it isn't. Fouts picks it up, and Fouts will hold it. And now some more stick work up high. As we mentioned, these two teams have no real love lost between them. .16 to play in the third period. 5-3, New Trier on top. Here's Stern, the shot. Boomed it wide. Loritzen tackled the man back behind the net. Who did he hit? Newton? Yeah. And in the process, the net moved, and that's the reason for the whistle. A moving net creates the stoppage of play here at 10:08 of the third period. 5-3 Trevians lead. McCaffrey with a short shot, 3 on the goalie, 3 on Brendan Fouts. McCaffrey shot it home. And then the 2-on-1 break on Listener with a pass from now Mazzuda. The draw. Back behind the net to the far side. Jasper up ahead and led all the way down. They'll call that icing against the Lake Forest Scouts. They'll move it back down to the Lake Forest end. As expected, this game should be rather close from here on out. This one, we're going to lose a lot of our fingernails to the end. 9:58. I think I'm going to have lots of fun this summer doing minor league baseball. The draw. Scott Dean fed up ahead now and picked away by Van Scoy in the zone. Van Scoy dumped out of there by Chad. And now they battle for it in the corner, picked up by the Scouts. Back, the shot, the save. Scott Dean got a little dribbler off, and the save by Glenn Abell. .36 now. And as we said, we expect from here on out to see and hear a lot of whistles stopping the play. Now here's Newton. Back up the ice. Newton for Stern. Stern tried to turn the corner around Jiske and bumped down by Jiske. Back behind the net. Here come the Lake Forest Scouts back up the ice. Lauritzen, bothered by Newton, into the zone nonetheless. Got hooked a little bit by Lauritzen. And Newton out to the point. Offside against the Lake Forest Scouts with the whistle stopping the play. And now I guess we have a little pushing and shoving going on down on the ice there. Some uniforms kind of caught up, I think, was all it was, between Newton and Van Scoy. Which leads me to my comment here going into the action of the 31st of January. Mike Van Scoy was the goal-scoring leader in Metro. He had 21 goals. And the assist leader in Metro is Chris Newton of New Trier Green. He had 19 assists on the season. Both of them, as we said, tied for the scoring leadership in Metro with 35. McCaffrey behind the net for the Trevians. Out to Johnson, and he didn't keep it in the zone. All the way down to the New Trier end. Matt Johnson. Johnson turns around. Johnson will try and get ahead of speed up. Busted away by Turner. Holezi, Johnson, Turner, and now picked away by the Scouts. Jiske back over to the far side. Back up, cross the line. Royster dumps it into the zone. Back behind the Trevian net. Listener dumps it to the far side. Royster has it out at the point. The long shot. And dumped out to the point. Held in by Turner. Fraser dumped ahead. Down into the Scouts' end. Mike Jiske. Picked away by McCaffrey. Got it to the goal. And as it dribbled there, Fouts clamped it down to the ice. And now some pushing afterwards. Again, it's Peterson. This time, a pair of 16s, Peterson and McCaffrey. And nothing called on the penalties. As I said, and now McCaffrey going to get one. He hit Peterson again. And Clay McCaffrey going to get one. As he skated by, he apparently bumped Dan Peterson and will get the minor for roughing. So once again, the Scouts will have the man advantage here. The faceoff moves outside the zone. And we're set for the drop. The draw, won by the Scouts. Jasper. Berrettini, Ezio Berrettini. Now picked away, Stern. Out to Jasper, offside at the blue line. Jasper tried to keep it in the zone. Just couldn't do so. 7:53 to play in the period. Back out. Over here to the near side, Scott Dean. Scott Dean dumps it into the zone. And now it's icing. On the near side, the referee over here on the near side, Don Olenek, called an icing. And Ken Lefko was calling the offside. And unfortunately, the two of them, their signals got a little tangled up. And nonetheless, it is the icing call. Drop on the draw. Picked away by the Scouts. Up ahead. Intended for Lauritzen on the cherry pick. Picked away by the Trevians. Dumped back down by Stern. Scott Dean. Dean up the ice. Scott Dean brings it into the zone. Dean splits the defense. Dean in, shot. The save by Abel. And the net dislodged by Scott Dean and Abel going in back there. Good job by Scott Dean splitting the defense. And then he did get the shot away. The nice save by Glenn Abell. The drop, the draw. Eastman back behind the net. Ezio Berrettini. Out, here's the shot, the pad save. The shot by Jasper, and the save by Abell. Back out to Jasper again. The shot, the save again by Abell. And now some pushing and shoving between Berrettini and Eastman. And Eastman's equipment came loose in the altercation, if we want to call it that. 1 minute exactly left on the minor. 7:04 to play in the period. Ezio Berrettini will face off against Chris Newton. The drop, the draw, back for Eastman behind his own goal line. Out to Newton. Newton out to the point, dumped and cleared out. All the way down, Lindholm chases it down. Now Laritza, we got a penalty coming up to Lindholm. He hit Fouts. And now they're pushing and shoving out at center ice again. And Lindholm going to get a penalty here. We'll see what that penalty is. Teddy Lindholm, a minor for tripping. And we'll see if we have anything else coming up. Do we have a misconduct thrown in there? And we'll see what this is. Lindholm. The time is not up on the clock. We'll see what that is. Lindholm, a minor. And now Jim Smith talking with George Brace. Nothing has gone up on the clock yet. Now there it goes. And I guess we have a crowd control problem. A minor official problem, shall we call it, over there on that far side. Drop and the draw. Scott Dean. Trevians with a 2 men down. Now Dean with John Chad, the forechecker. Scott Dean turning around. Dean bouncing puck over here to Van Scoy. Van Scoy back over to the far side. There's the shot, the save by Abell. Clampton held on. Boy, Glenn has made some super saves in there tonight. The Scouts have made some wicked shots here. And Glenn Abell has made some outstanding saves. And Dean, Halezi will come up with it. Back out to the point. Back into Halezi. Deflection shot, save. Back behind the net. Puck came out into the slot and swatted out of there by the Trevians. First minor's over. Jasper on his... brings it back in. Sweeps back out to the point. Laritson winds up. Deflected by Newton. Back behind the net. Scott Dean. Dean turning around. Out to the point. Jasper. Down he goes, out to Scott Dean. Dean knocked off the puck by Stern. Back over to Van Scoy, back out to the point. Laritson swatted out of there by Witherell, out to center ice. And now some pushing going on out in the slot. Some more pushing going on in front of the new Trier bench. Here come the Scouts back up the ice. Scott Dean. Dean bumped offside on the far side. Halezi was offside, bumped down offside on that far side by, I believe, Witherell. Scouts offside. 5:18 to play in the third period. 37 seconds on the minor. 5-3, Trevians lead. The drop, the draw. Jasper to Loritzen. Loritzen dumps it into the zone, just missed the referee, Jim Smith. Now down goes Johnson, out to Van Scoy. Out in front, there was an interference and not called between Scott Dean and, was that Witherell? And now again, some pushing and shoving going on back there in the slot. And Scott Dean going to get a minor on Clay McCaffrey. And Scott a little upset with that. McCaffrey could have gotten one for a holding or interference. And the Trevian fans cheering in the Lake Forest Scouts all upset. Mike Van Scoy having a word with Jim Smith on what started that all off was a holdback behind the play, and Jim Smith didn't actually call it. 13 seconds left on the Trevians minor now to Lindholm, and 2 minutes on the Scott Dean minor. 4:54 to play in the period. Well, as we expected, this one is a rather intense hockey game. The drop, the draw, Newton to Stern. Stern trying to get around Jasper. Got it into the zone. He'll rag it a little bit. The Trevians are going to have the power play. Johnson, the long shot, the save by Fouts, and now the Trevians minor over. The Scouts down a man. Loritzen with Newton, busted away by Newton and busted right back by Loritzen. Loritzen into the zone. And now down again. Johnson and Loritzen colliding back there. Dumped and cleared out of there by the Trevians. Stern into the zone. Stern ragging it to the corner with Jasper. Back behind the net. Lindholm will feed it out. Tried to feed it out. Instead dumped it into the slot. Dumped and cleared out of there by Fouts himself. We got a penalty coming up on the Trevians for interference on Fraser. Ross Fraser, a minor for interference, and the time of the penalty 3:54. Well, as we said, this one sort of expected some of this penalties, not quite as much as this. Did expect this one to get a little rowdy, and it certainly has done that here in the third period. I'm not sure exactly where we are penalty-wise, but both these teams better watch themselves. They get 15, and the coaches are going to be suspended. I don't think they want to have that in the middle of the playoffs here. And now we're ready for the face-off. Janista and Peterson. The draw won by the Trevians. Mizuta up the ice. Mizuta into the zone. Mizuta trying to get a little rush of speed up. Did so back behind the net over here to the near side. And now the Scouts bring it up. 4-on-4. At this point, Janista behind the net to the far side. Mizuta. Jiski coming off on the line change. Loritzen will come up to Mizuta. Mizuta shot up onto the netting and actually falls back behind the boards. And again, some glaring and pushing and shoving going on as the whistle for losing the puck out of the ring. 3:32 to play. This is the Metro North Sports Network coverage of hockey action as we're in the very first round of the playoffs. Actually, as our playoff games go, I mean, despite the intensity that is obviously going on out there, as compared to other Metro playoff games, this one has been both well played and interesting. Van Scoy got one shot away, and then the second one ran off Johnson. Now Stern over to Eastman. Eastman up the ice. Now gave it over on that far side to Newton. Tried to split the defense. Jasper comes back up for the Scouts. Jasper stops in his own zone from the left wing. The long shot, just a little wide. Loritzen shot, ran into Eastman's skate. Now Scott Dean back on the ice. The Trevians with the short-handed situation here. Johnson bumped by Scott Dean back down into the zone. That's icing against the Trevians. And they goofed it up. The Trevians were down a man, and therefore the problem and the goof on the part of the linesman, they called it for the icing and the error. The Trevians were allowed to ice it because they were down a man, and they still are for another 40 seconds. Now, heavy check in the corner. Van Scoy still controls. Van Scoy into the slot, the shot, the boomer, and the save. I think Bell got a glove on it. Out to center ice. Now, here comes Janista. Offside on the part of the Trevians. Up ahead, Eastman. Eastman dumped it down. Picked away by Eastman. Short shot by Izio Berrettini, the save. Right in front, shot, a goal! Mike Van Scoy with the goal. Van Scoy with the goal. It's a power play goal at 1:58. .158 left to play in the period. 5-4 the score. Team may have gotten an assist in there too. Here's Johnson. Johnson brings it up the ice. Johnson into the corner. Izio Berrettini back behind his own net. Controls for the Lake Forest Scouts. Head Scott Dean. Now picked away by Johnson. The long shot, the save right in front. Actually went off foul skate as he lunged for it. Would have been a goal otherwise. Listener dumps it back down into the zone. Jasper. We're equal on the ice. Dumped down by Eastman. They're going to call that icing against the Trier Trevians, despite the protest of the Trevians coaches. Now Jim Smith again over there having a word. We have a timeout. Timeout championship game going to be on March 10th at Wilmette. Stern couldn't get it out of the zone. Now over for Van Scoy. He fanned on the puck. Loritzen dumped back in. Trevians control. Matt Johnson. We've got 1 minute to play in the game. Off Newton. Ezio Berrettini tried to sweep it into the zone. Now out comes Fouts. Stern, the long shot, open net goal. Eric Stern with the goal. Open net at 49 seconds. Seconds, time of the goal. Just as Brendan Fouts had cleared, dropped the draw. Loritzen dumped it to the far side. Mizuta dumped it right to Doc Stern in the goal in the scorer's table. Fraser said something to George Brace over there I give George Brace all the credit in the world. He really chastised Ross Fraser. Over here on the near side, Chad dumped it into the zone. Well, this has certainly been exciting up and beyond it. Now Chad, and we have a little altercation over here between Chad and Lauritsen. I don't know what the whistle was, but whatever it was, they're calling it offside and intentional. Or is it icing? Icing against New Trier. One or the other. 33 seconds to play. Metro League playoff action all season long. We'll be here with the playoff games. I'm not sure how far along we'll go in state. Kind of depends on my business dealings, but we'll see what happens here. We'll go as far as we can. Offside at the face-off, and a little pushing and shoving going on. And now Jim Smith having a few words with, is that Turner? No, Lauritsen and Lindholm. And once again, fouts off, and now they'll put Scott Dean on as the extra attacker out there. 33 seconds. It's happened before. I'm not sure. They had a problem with the face-off. Newton and Van Scoy were both set off. And they'll put, who's going to face off? Van Scoy. Out to the point, held in by Van Scoy out at the blue line. Now Van Scoy again, keeps it in the zone. Sent it out. Stern tried to swipe at it. Scott Dean tried to get the shot away. There was a check from behind in there on Eric Stern that wasn't called. Tried to center it, turn around by Van Scoy, ran into traffic, dumped and cleared out with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goal at the buzzer, open net. Did he call it? No. Is it a goal? Final score, yeah, it's a goal. Final score, the New Trier Trevians 7 and the Lake Forest Scouts 4.